All right, we're here for the Uncommon Truth. This is episode 63. My name is Max, and
63.
I'm with I know.
That was what Steve was yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm with Steve and Vicky Orsillo, and happy birthday,
Happy
Steve.
birthday, Steve.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you.
It is your birthday. It's your 64th birthday.
64th.
It is.
63
And
yesterday.
so Vicky and I have something for you. Here we go.
It's all cooked up.
I don't know how this will work, but when I get older, losing my head. Rude. Years from now.
Today.
You gotta sing too, Vicky. Be sending me a Valentine. She's not singing. Greetings, bottle of wine. If I'd been out till 2:45, would you lock the door? Will you still need me?
Will you still feed me when I'm 64? Bum, bum, bum. That's
I tried to get
That's all I know.
I tried to get my harmonica in,
That'd be
but I
amazing.
didn't have the right key. So
he's 64.
Kind of hard to sing a song and play the harmonica.
well, I thought Vicky
Really
was
good.
going to be singing. We
Well, I
had
didn't
it
have the
all.
words.
She
I
doesn't
thought
know
it was
the
gonna be
words.
like
Get
on
it.
You
Let
sent
him-
me the words
I thought
like
it'd be
2
like
hours ago.
the bouncing ball, like the
Oh, you were
Yeah.
going to be the one.
I sent him the
Bum,
lyrics.
bum,
Isn't
bum.
that nice? So I actually forethought
Yeah.
about your birthday.
She said
She's
we're
really
going to
good at it.
surprise him by singing this together, and then I just sang it.
She's so good at it.
separately
I hope
and
I
together.
sounded-
She's so good at it.
Decent.
I am so bad at birthdays.
That's amazing.
And so then
Makes
we were
me
talking
sad.
before we hit record about Vicky. So Vicky doesn't have Facebook, but she wished you a happy birthday from
On
your
my Facebook.
His
from your own
status.
Facebook.
So it was
Nice.
really me saying it to me in writing.
How
Yeah.
great you are.
That's not
Yeah.
narcissistic at
No,
all.
I was thinking really highly of myself this morning.
I'm not sure I did it.
Yeah, it was all him.
It was all him.
You gotta go back.
He was feeling so
If you're
bad
friends
about
with
being
Steve on
64.
Facebook, check back.
Check out his timeline today, or well, it would be 7 days from now.
I'm
or 4 days
excited.
from now.
Whatever.
I'm
yeah.
excited to get to 65, and then I kind of just want to stay 65.
Because of Medi-Cal?
Yeah.
Medicare?
Yeah, get off this crazy Obamacare stuff.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Okay. He said matter-of-factly.
As he said, matter of factly.
So this is what happens. we record the podcast after lunch, and Steve and Vicky today went to lunch together.
I
and
took him to lunch for his birthday.
and then she posted about it on his Facebook. But they come in with their arguments about
Arguments.
the
No, I wouldn't
English
say
language.
arguments.
Not really an argument, but anyway, we have to say who was on time and who wasn't.
Okay.
And I have to say, actually, both of you were early because
Right.
we said
We were
1:15, and
shocked.
it's not quite even 1:15 yet.
yeah,
shocked.
yeah.
But Vicky was first.
That's
so
right. And Vicky was also
matter of factly.
right.
Oh, it was in the
We
dictionary.
had a discussion at lunch. We were literally sitting in the parking lot of Denny's because in the COVID land, that's when you eat
That's
now.
where you-
It is a parking
Took
lot
you to
of
the parking lot
restaurants.
of Denny's.
And I took my husband out for lunch with our beautiful niece Jamie, and I said to him something, and I used the word matter of factly, and
Mm-hmm.
he looked at me and he just started giggling. Because he thinks he's probably the smartest man in the world. That's part of your
This is
update.
it's still his birthday, right?
Yeah.
I think you think I'm the
Anyway,
smartest man in the
he
world.
looked at me. What'd you say, honey?
I don't remember.
No, you do.
No, I don't.
No, you do.
I just said that. That's not how that word's used.
And I can't believe
I don't even think it's a word.
that the way you
It's
speak.
as a matter of fact.
No. And so he said, that's not, I said, no, matter of factly is a word. He said, no, it's not. So, of course, what do we do? What does every couple do?
You Google
They
it.
Googled it. So I Googled it, and he said, I showed him a dictionary reference. He said, no, that's not accurate. So then I showed him the Cambridge Dictionary, which isn't that where Sarah's from, Cambridge?
Yep. Our friend
and
Sarah Budd.
he disputed that one too.
Okay.
Even in the examples of she said it matter of factly.
You know what I think you should do? I think you should use that word everywhere you
I
go.
am going to.
Yeah, I think
You
you
know
should.
me,
No,
I will.
really do.
I
Because
will
when you use that
matter-of-factly
word,
say
use
that.
the word matter of factly all over the place.
I will.
Yeah,
And I will.
I like that. You know, and it's really good. Today's a really good.
That's
Because
good.
she feels so good
I feel
when
so
she's
good.
right.
It's a
and I'm
birthday
wrong.
present for me.
Yeah, it's a birthday present.
my
for her.
birthday
Yeah, so
already?
far all he's gotten was me singing the Beatles to him off tune, and you telling him he's wrong.
He's just
And
not as
happy
right as
birthday.
he
You know,
usually is.
she's this right and I'm this wrong.
Look at my face.
So
I'm
seldom.
so excited. Look at my face.
It's
I'm
so
so
seldom
excited.
that it's just such a banner day.
It
for
really
her.
is. He's
My
never wrong.
birthday is a banner day for Vicky
be
because I
wrong.
was wrong.
Spectologist.
or maybe I just wasn't as right as I
A
usually am.
spectologist.
Yeah, that goes back to our Vicky's very good at taking the log out of her own eye because she gets super excited about getting specks
Okay,
out of
so
others.
she's not good about taking the log out of her own eye.
No, she's good.
Good
I
at
am.
taking the
She
speck
already
out of her.
she already got the log out, so because she was motivated by being able to find the specks in others. That
That's
she's
right.
like, I'm gonna get this log out of mine so I can.
And I batter it with on your head.
I think that opinion is a matter of perception.
It's not matter of
and
factly.
It's as a matter of factly, that is not quite accurate from my vantage
I hope
point.
people have fun because we sure are.
We are too. We
We
laugh.
do have a lot of fun.
We do.
Yeah.
I actually watched the Q&A, the questions and answers.
Yep.
I actually listened to it, and I don't know if this is narcissistic, but then I watched this on YouTube, and I was just started giggling. I just was enjoying it again. I just, and you know what's weird is that you actually, when there's a question or there's a comment, I'm about ready to say something. It's exactly what I say here. You know, I'm like the same thought and word is still in the brain.
It happens again.
Well, it's
It happens
weird.
again.
It's weird when I listen back if I have to edit something or try to hear or find a clip for Facebook or something, and I'm like, I'm kind of sitting on the edge of my seat, like, what did they say next? I forget because we've done so many, and it's hard to. Your brain just sort of goes on autopilot for remembering things after a certain while, and you're just like, wow. I said that? That sounded pretty smart.
really
or, wow,
good.
I said that and I blocked it from my memory? Man, that's too bad.
In all seriousness, though, you know, I did write his timeline birthday wish, and he is.
It was a blessing.
Yeah, he's
and
phenomenal.
that is, you know, what I've gotten. It's only 1 o'clock, and I have had
Poured out
from
love.
all over, even around the world. I've had love poured out, love expressed.
Yeah.
Just it's
From years ago.
It's hard. You know, I'm not big on birthdays. I don't really. My birthday is not a holiday to me, and
Mine
but
is.
but what it is now, because
I'm with
everybody,
Steve,
because
yeah.
so many people, just show love. It's really you can't complain about getting loved.
No.
It's pretty cool. They say cool things. They say it warms the cockles of your heart.
A cockle.
The cockle of your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. We might need to get out the Cambridge dictionary for
Cockle.
that
Let's
one.
forget
Well,
that
Luke
and
knows
let's
that.
let's get on with the subject of.
Anyway, happy birthday.
Yes,
Thank
happy
you.
birthday,
And I will
Steve.
still feed you, and I still will need you when you're 64.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
That's
you're
cool. I got a whole year ahead of me.
You know what I loved? I loved that I married a much older man than I
Yeah,
am.
yeah.
So now you don't ever have to look for a much younger woman because
Right, I robbed
Here
the
I
cradle.
am.
I
She's
robbed the
already
cradle.
there.
She's only 62
Okay. You're not
for
supposed
12
to say
more
that, especially
for
on
12
podcasts.
more days.
12 more days. 62.
Okay, so what are we going to sing for her on her birthday?
I'll be gone.
She'll be gone.
It'll be a podcast by you and him only,
Okay.
Her
have to bring
birthday
Yosin.
present is that I'll
Yeah.
send her away.
Okay.
or yours.
Or did she give that to you for your birthday today?
No, I gave it to her.
Yeah, that was so sweet.
So you've been here for a
21
long
years.
time. It's yeah.
We were here when it started.
Yeah.
You guys, I think you had
Literally.
something to do with it
Literally.
starting. And so you've been
Good
here for a
call.
long time. And I was thinking back to when I first visited, trying to think about my first thoughts. We came for a wedding, and then we ended up coming to church. We had plans, but it rained, and so we thought we'd be good, and we'd come to church that day instead of going to visit the big trees.
It's amazing.
And what I noticed first, and actually I noticed it all that week as everybody got together to make this wedding go off for this couple, I noticed how much like what I was reading in the book of Acts,
Wow.
the Father's house was. And that's not to really like toot our own horn, but it's more like, wow, there's a lot of things, like there's a really good community here that's working together. So I noticed that. And in the year sort of intervening after I left, I was asking myself kind of why would it be the fact or the case, matter of factly, that the Father's House Church was very much like the Book of Acts Church. And one of the things that I kept hearing in sermons and thinking about was the teaching that you teach that says, follow me as I follow Christ,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And so
I do
I
teach
kind of wanted to dig into that today on your 64th birthday, because you two are the leaders of the Father's House Church. Jesus was the one who called you guys to start it. And so I want to know what that means. What do you mean by follow me as I follow Christ?
What I mean is that I believe that God has called me to lead people to Him. And so I ask people to look at my life, look closely, dissect my life. You know, and if you find that I have something you want, Like I quite often ask, what do you want? And the answers will be, I want to have a marriage like yours. I want to be a businessman. I want to do these things that they have mostly failed at ever even coming close, or even they've never even come close to the start line on any of their things they would want. Mm-hmm. Never learned how to love a woman. Never, if they had kids, it would be a disaster. A lot of them do have kids, and it is a disaster. A lot of them have a lot of road behind them of failure. And so I just say, follow me. I know the way. Do you looked at my life? You think you want to have your kids, love you like mine love me. You want a business, successful business. You want to have the mind of Christ and be able to have him lead your business or lead your job and work for him. And anything you find in me that is positive and good, follow me and I'll show you how. And it's based on the idea that if you want to be a carpenter, you learn from a carpenter. Okay. You want to be an electrician, you learn from an electrician. You want to be a brain surgeon, you don't learn from me. You better go learn from the people who do that. Mm-hmm. And you want to find a good one. Do you want to be a good one? Yes. Yeah, then learn from a good one. And what you do in every sense of the world, do you want to be a mechanic? You actually cannot go to school and come out a mechanic. You come out with a certificate, but then you got to walk alongside mechanics who have all the nuances, sometimes that works, but there's also this. And they've learned all of those things, and you learn from a mechanic. Well, suddenly Christianity, everybody says, I need no man to tell me what to do. The Holy Spirit leads me. Mm-hmm. And we have this incredible mess of Christianity that the world doesn't want. We're non-essential. We don't inspire them to come to Jesus. We're in the middle of the greatest crisis of American history with riots in our streets. COVID-19 shut everything down, and people are not running to the church. Mm-hmm. They are running to their masks, and they're locking themselves in. And they're doing exactly what the government will save us is what they're doing, not Jesus will save us. Yep. So when people come to the church, I want them to see something and say, I want to walk alongside of you because I want to be a Christian and you are a Christian. I want to be taught. I want to be fathered for the first time in my life and you are a father. Okay, then walk with me and I'll show you how to be those things. Mm-hmm. So it's follow me as I follow Christ until I can teach you how to follow Christ. And so sometimes the downside to that is every once in a while, like some guy will follow me and all the dominoes are falling in place. All the cards are stacking in order. Mm-hmm. Their life, they look back and go, oh my gosh, do you know how screwed up my life was and how bad I did? How many hideous things I did in my life? And now I've got 3 years following you of just good in my life. But you find out they never connected to Jesus. They did not do what I taught them in spirit. They only did the physical life of responding this way, acting this way. They learned a system and they did time. And it really works. Christian system works. But the problem with it, if you don't have the spirit baptism, if you don't have the spirit regeneration and made brand new born again experience, then you won't get what the rest of us are getting. You will feel eventually, we will keep going further up and farther in, and you will eventually be unable to attain. And you'll say, I'm falling behind, and I'm confused, and I don't know why I'm falling behind. And the reason is you have not had that heart experience that while following us, we told you about it. So follow me as I follow Christ is an invitation to learn how to walk the walk, but it's also a direction on how to find the Holy Spirit and new life in Jesus Christ and be born again. And most of the time people get that, but every once in a while we get someone who's just trying to punch the holes, check the boxes, and do the time. And you ask them, do you like who you are today? Oh my gosh, I like who I am. Did you like who you were before? No. So following us has done this. And they get to the point where they have to have that born again experience. Mm-hmm. And so follow me as I follow Christ is not successful just getting people out of drugs and dysfunction and terrible selfish thinking. It's only successful if that happens and born again Christianity happens, where the Holy Spirit becomes their Lord and their master, and they begin to understand the revelation of the teaching of Jesus Christ begins to, the veil is taken away. It becomes clear to their eyes and their mind, and they literally have the mind of Christ. But when they don't have that, all they've done is learned a a trait of how to live a way that is successful and has joy and maybe has a little peace and maybe some self-control. But there's always that need to pull them into the Holy Spirit, to make him their Lord. You kind of their father, the father that holds the hand across the street.
Yeah.
But what happens if your kid gets to be 25 and still has to have their hand held across the street? You know something's wrong.
Yeah.
You did not make them independent. And that's kind of, follow me as I follow Christ has the same intention as parenting, that you teach them to be independent Christians who can go to the Lord for their needs, who can hear his voice, who can lay down their life for others is the big call of Jesus Christ. So they can become selfless. And that's where follow me as I follow Christ that's the philosophy.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. That's how it works around here. And when people say, how do you have all these people? And everywhere I go, we send crews out, we send teams out, they say, how every person on your team says the same things, loves the same things, lives the same way. And they all are so full of joy and life, and they love giving. Mm-hmm. And they say, this is the next question. How do you do that? And I say, follow me as I follow Christ. The number one thing people get mad at me about, people hate about my teaching, is follow me as I follow Christ. That is, I can't handle that. And they rise up, and it's like, but you just asked me. First off, without knowing, you noticed this rich, incredible character in these sons and daughters of ours that grew up in this sacrificial, I give for the purpose of giving. And I am surrounded by billowing blessings of grace and mercy. And it just, the more I serve and the more I give, the more I feel like the more I have. Mm-hmm. And it's like, the blessings just keep coming. The hits just keep coming. And yet I'm not doing it to receive the blessings. I'm doing it to serve the Lord. And so they notice that. Then they ask you how, and you tell them, I have to be a man that they can examine. That means I have to abstain from the things I want. I have to be upright and as plumb as I can be to show them the right way to go. And that's my responsibility. I might have some freedoms, but I can't employ them because it would hurt them. Mm-hmm. They need to see me standing tall. Then they need to decide, I want to be a man who stands tall too.
Yeah.
I want to be a man who others who are sinking, others who are drowning, others who are dying, can reach up from their quicksand, from their muck and their mire, and grab your hand, and you can pull. You're not pulling me in. I'm pulling you out.
Yeah.
And that's really what I'm calling these young people to be. And they're not all young. They're all 40 and 30, and so I'm calling these people to be people who can't be pulled into the muck, but are standing right next to the muck, right where the sinners and tax collectors and prostitutes live. It's the sick that need a doctor, and you got to get in there with them, but not so they can pull you in. No, it's so you can pull them out. You need to know who you are. And that's the purpose and philosophy behind follow me as I follow Christ. And then the next one, listen to Jesus, is, it's just further up and farther in, but the basic balance is you come here. You have a 6-month period where you can learn to decide. You can look at us, me and Vicky, and say, I want what you have, or say, I hear a different call, or I see a different play, and they wander to somewhere else. But the ones that stay get this blessing, and then someone, and invariably, I don't know, a week goes by, this doesn't happen, where someone says, I can't believe your team, your people. There's so many. How do you do this?
Or what we're able to accomplish.
Mostly it's the accomplishment shows you the people. Mm-hmm. They go, look what they do. And so I got down to get to know them, and I asked their stories. It's amazing. They're always saying that. Yep. Last Sunday at lunch, this is what won these people to us, was they met some of our people and asked them questions. Mm-hmm. And it's like, wow, so why is your people so different than where I used to go to church?
Yeah.
Did they practice follow me as I follow Christ and try to tell you that as a man in the Christian church, you're responsible for your neighbor, you are your brother's keeper, that how you live as an example to others, to teach them not mechanics, not framing, not electricity, no, not brain surgery, not any of those things. You're trying to teach them discipleship. And so are you willing to stand up as an example and say, look at me, examine me, and then follow me. I don't know everything. In fact, I might not even know very much, but what I do know, I'll show you as we both go forward learning together, and I'll take you so far, but you have to be able to transfer your allegiance from me to him.
Yeah.
You have to have a relationship with him where you now can cross the street without me holding your hand. You now can decipher your ABCs without me reminding you. Now, what does an R sound like? We all do that with our children, but what if our university child's saying, I don't remember what an R sounds like? I mean, there's something wrong. And that's what we're doing in Christianity today, because we do not want to tell anyone anything. And so I hope I answered the question of the philosophy of follow me as I follow Christ, at the same time as the objection people have and the absolute necessity that every Christian person who becomes an adult Christian, if you have grown to even adolescent Christianity, you must begin to look at those who are further down the staircase, further down and further out. Hey, would you like to get up here on this level? Would you like to get deeper with the Lord? Then come and follow me. I'll show you the way. I've already been on your steps. I've already been up your path. I've already experienced these things. So let me teach you how these things. Let me hold your hand across the street until you become a man or a woman who can cross the street on your own. And teach them how to be adults. We raised our kids to be parents. We raised our kids to be pastors, not to stay kids, not to stay under us.
Yeah.
No, we raised them to fly, baby.
Yeah,
so,
that's the thing with me as a father. I kind of, part of me wants them to stay in that stage where they say the cute thing. You know, they say Jovi says hilarious instead of hilarious, so hilarious with an F.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just hilarious. And she's now in I think because she's really good friends with your granddaughter Dominica, who says literally all the time. So Jovi comes and she'll be like, "Dad, you're literally hilarious." I want her to stay that. Oh, yeah. But I also, like, if she was saying that when she was, 8, 9 years old, 34.
Oh, yeah. I had such a hard time getting people to quit correcting my children. They're going to learn how to say it. Quit correcting them. I want this to last even another day.
It's
Give me another day of hilarious, because they're going to learn.
Yeah. They sing that song, oh, no, you never let go. Yeah. But she says yet go. She still says yet. But then last week at chapel, she switched to let, and I just a little bit like, oh man. But I recorded on my audio notes on my phone, so I can go back and listen to them.
Because you'll forget.
That's a little bit of an aside.
Yeah, boy, we went way far.
But what I was hearing from that is there's two things. What most people I think here is oh no, I have to follow somebody else, which is kind of like against the grain in our culture today. Yeah. But what you're really saying is the responsibility is on the leader to be a leader that's worth following. And then it's not that hard to follow, because it's not like it's really hard work for my daughter to follow me. She wants to follow me. She wants to learn what I know. She wants to learn what my wife knows, right?
Yeah, a good portion of the people that follow me, I mean, many of them do have fathers, but many of them never had fathers. And it's like I say, I wish I'd have been there when you were little, but I wasn't. And you still have to learn these things. You still have to learn how to be fathered so that you're not an orphan. How do you make God your father? Jesus preached, make God your father. I mean, in 50 different ways. Make God when you pray, say, our Father who art in heaven. Make God your father. Well, how do you make God your father when you've never had one? You don't even know what that, I mean, you look and you go, well, is he like the president? I make him my president. No, make him your father. Well, yeah, he's like this boss I had that used to yell at me. Is he like that? Or he's like the principal at school? No, he's like a father, and you got to father people. And so the success of the Father's House Church is Vicki and I father and mother people. As we say, follow me as I follow Christ. Imitate me as I imitate Christ. I will be in front of you, and I won't let you down. And that's really the key, is that what you just said, the real calling is to the leader, but others have to choose to follow. Yeah. And there's no way around that. I don't, you go all through Christianity, that is 100% always been the message until this last century. Yes, my love.
I think it's really, I think as I was listening to you, I think in Christianity, I think when we start off as a baby Christian, I think all of us have a desire to follow. But I think the road is littered with many pastors who have not led. Yeah. Who've been very flawed individuals, and we're flawed individuals as well. But I believe you put it all in the basket and you try it and you get hurt and then you never try it again. So it's twofold, right? The problem's twofold: is the leader's not leading, like you said, and the follower's not following, which they never become a leader to lead the people that they're behind them. So it just kind of litters the road with broken relationships and people saying, I follow no man, I follow just Jesus, or I just read the Bible myself. Or I think that's a real tragedy with the heartbreak and the choices that some leaders have made that have not taken their vows before the people they lead seriously. Steve and I take our vows very seriously. We never want to be the reason someone isn't walking with Jesus is because they saw us doing something. Now, not to say that that hasn't happened, but we really don't ever try to shoot at that. Like, oftentimes, and this is probably a real, just like a red flag, or but in Christianity, we often hear that we can do whatever we want to do. Well, I read Jesus and it says, avoid the appearance of evil. Or, if it causes your brother to stumble, why does your liberty cause your brother to stumble? Can we drink alcohol? Yeah, we can. I don't have a problem with alcohol. However, you might, or the person next to you might.
That's right.
So we won't do it. We'll lay down our liberties so that you might have a chance of being saved. So in 2020 Christianity, like, that's a hot topic right now.
Yeah.
Is Christians and drinking, you're still a Christian if you drink? I think you're still a Christian if you drink. However, when you celebrate that and put it out there, it's the most damaging thing, and it's the most damaging drug on the planet. Steve will often say, in a crowd, how many people have not been affected by alcohol? And there might be
in a
six,
negative way.
There might be 6 or 7 that haven't out of 250. So for us, we don't want our liberties to cause anyone to stumble. So we'll live out loud. We literally say, you can go under our bed, you can look in our computer, you can go in our closet, because we have nothing to hide.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we want we want to be genuine and authentic. And yeah, we get angry and I yell at Steve, or he yells at me, or whatever, get mad at our kids. However, we never try to intentionally sin.
Yeah.
We just kind of stumble sometimes and lose our temper or something. But I think, but going back to the first thing, I just really think that when we are first saved and we're on fire for Jesus, I believe that we would follow leaders. But oftentimes I hear stories where the following of the new Christian wasn't honored.
Yeah.
And the leader wasn't leading. He
Well, it's
wasn't
like
saying imitate
They
me.
didn't value that young minds and
Yeah.
hearts were
mush.
Following them
Yeah.
and looking at them as examples to be led towards Jesus Christ. And for
And we
some
take it
reason,
very seriously.
people judge him because of us, whether we like it or not. They're going to judge Jesus whether we like it or not. I've never met anyone who had one of those born-again experiences with Jesus that ever judged him. They judge us. They've never met him. They really don't know him, but they've met us. And they don't like him because of us. And but it's amazing. They meet him, they like him. They meet us, they don't like him.
Yeah.
And that's where the most important element is left Christianity almost entirely. Very, very
Responsibility.
small crowd still saying, I will put my freedoms aside, because that's what Paul said.
Personal
We will not
responsibility.
employ our freedoms to the damage of anyone else, because Paul didn't get to hear Jesus on earth, but obviously he learned so much when Jesus said, woe to any man who causes one of these little ones to stumble. And I mean, woe? If I cause a man to stumble because of my freedoms and he
Doesn't make it.
doesn't make it, Jesus said it'd be better for that man that caused the stumbling if a
Millstone.
millstone were hung around his neck and cast into the sea. I mean, it's like, oh man, he takes this serious. And it's really important. It's a really important issue. Probably the most important issue on the board today, as far as the church being essential and evangelistic and leading the world to the message of Jesus Christ. I mean, you and I both know this message of love and turning the other cheek and loving your enemy, going the extra mile, this message of Jesus to be filled with oil and be at work in the Father's vineyard, this would win the world. This would change the world.
that's
We'd
what we
have
saw.
the utopia
Yeah.
we ever expected. But
We won't.
But we're not teaching these things. We're not willing to example these things. The world can't see these things because they're too busy seeing us employing our freedoms and declaring our rights and demanding our way, that we have a right. We are essential. And the truth is, we need to say he's essential. We aren't essential. He's essential. His word is essential. His message is essential. And you must come to Jesus. And if you don't know how, let me show you how. Follow me. I'll lead you there.
That's a really, you think about saying that to the person next to you, taking their life in your hands, basically, to follow me as I follow Christ. It's sobering, because it's better that a millstone be put around your neck. I mean, and cast in the sea. Well, you drown. There's no struggle. You just go right to the bottom of the sea. Yeah. And I think the church is all of us, and I'm talking to me and everybody that's listening. It's employing your giving up your rights.
Laying down your life.
Laying down your life for your brother. No greater love has any man that he lay down his life for his brother. And I believe that's what the church needs to go through. Follow, and people being bold enough to say, "Follow me as I follow Christ."
So it's not just I'll die for you if it ever comes to
Correct.
it, but I'll actually live differently. My entire life will be different because you're going to be seeing it.
Yeah,
I hadn't thought of that before.
That is the most important part of what Vicky's saying is, can I die for you? I would die for you. It's very seldom you ever get to prove that. Yeah. Every day you get to prove, I will live for you. I will live my life for your benefit. Every day we get to say that to someone. We can say, well, I'll die for you every day, but the truth is,
I'm not sure
when we get that chance.
Yeah.
How often you get a chance to die for your neighbor, but every day you get a chance to live for your neighbor.
And I think that is so. We've been Christians now 41 and 46 years respectively, and the terrain has changed so much in the world, especially in America. I can speak to America. I imagine all the civilized countries are that way, but it's Christianity has become all about me. Yeah. And really, it's not. It's all about them. It's all about the person in front of you, making Jesus famous, living for Jesus. That's, for my life, it's like, that's what I want to be, is that people would see Jesus when they see me, or they'd see something different, that they'd see some peace that they don't have through this COVID. So follow me as I follow Christ is like one of the most important things.
It is.
That the world needs to see.
Foundational.
That people would rise up and say that to their neighbors, and that leaders would actually do that, and that people would actually be able to trust leaders to be authentic and genuine.
That's right.
So when you guys started the Father's House, was this something, it's like, I'm going to do this right away, this teaching, where did it come from? How did you start with that?
Follow me has always been, since the day I was born again, I got that. But the way I employed it was different at the Father's House. So we failed miserably at the church startup. The
Father's House.
Yeah, the Father's House. We started in youth ministry. I did a really good job of that. Mm-hmm. But in the Father's House, we kind of failed miserably. And wanted to quit, because pastoring's different. Well, it's not different, but it feels to me like what the Lord, if I remember correctly, what the Lord led me to was this David, can't think of his name, from Baton Rouge, preached this message and about, if you're not raising up sons and daughters in your ministry, then you will continually be losing your leaders and constantly reinvigorating your leaders. You're always constantly replacing leaders.
It's a revolving door.
Because the hireling runs at all kinds of signs of trouble. But the son stays and fills the gap and does whatever's needed to try to make the vineyard successful. Well, I was flying home from that message, and I was alive with that idea, and it felt like the Lord was saying to me, what do you do really well? And just by name, I said, I am a natural father to my children. I didn't read a book. I didn't know how. The first baby surprised me. I had no idea love could be like that. So he said, you're a great father. So why aren't you fathering your church? Why are you trying to be the CEO? As a pastor, pastor, I'm going to run the business.
Because you were a successful business owner.
I was very successful in business.
That's all you knew.
But I was running something other than my family, like the business. And so I came home and said, Vicky, this is the revelation. We're great parents. We just naturally fell into it. it just was like natural to us. You're the best mother anyone's ever had. I'm a great dad. And this is what he said about if we're going to stay, because we're down to 2 people or something, like, you know.
I wanted to go for the record.
Yeah, it was 9 people, and 6 of them were my family.
Take my ball and
kinda.
go home.
Yeah.
And I just said, if we're going to stay and we're going to build this thing, he's saying we need to raise up sons and daughters. Well, Vicky was excited. She really was. That's it. She was like, like ding, ding, ding. That's the key.
Yeah.
But I said, you realize it takes 18 years to raise a child. And what
Take
we
my
need,
ball and go home.
what we need is we need adult leaders today.
Yeah.
Now, I'm assuming with spiritual growth, we're going to raise children to adults faster than 18 years. But the point of me saying that is it's going to take some time and investment. We're going to invest in someone and they're going to fall. They're going to run away. Mm-hmm. We're going to lose as many orphans. They're going to run as orphans until we identify that group of people that have the ability to become sons and daughters. Well, it happened immediately, the first one, this young lady named Lisa, and just joined our family, really.
Who is still with us today, 20 years later.
Is it 20?
Almost.
That's like 18 anyway.
Yeah.
It's, you know, and so right then, you know, just amazing. And so it started working with this young orphan named Devin and his struggle to become a son, and I would call him a son today. He lives on the East Coast, but, you know,
Pops.
he still calls me Pops. And it really happened faster than we expected to find the first 2, but we weren't looking for 2. We were looking for 20.
Yeah.
And just had to keep breathing through it. We kept having to breathe through it. You don't get to 20 unless you get to 2 first, and you got to get to 3, and then you got to, you know, but I want 20. And it really was amazing. This was such an incredible group of young people. And then the next group, and then more, until you have what today, you know, you just have an amazing thing.
You got 24 pastors on staff, right?
And everything here came from that ideal of, I will be a father to everyone. I will behave like a father. I will not behave like a CEO. I will not behave like a spiritual mentor or leader. I will behave like a father. I will have a investment in your morality. You know, like your children, you're invested in them. You want them to learn right, and you want to be proud of them, and you know, and you just looking for a reason. And so you're teaching them morality. You're teaching them how to deal with people. You're teaching them all that stuff. And so it's really not up to me to be a father to them. Like will you be my spiritual father? Well, I was the day you walked in the door. Mm-hmm. What this conversation will trigger is your awareness that you have to be a son. Just like Jesus said, you have to make God your father. And in this case, you have to make me your father so you can learn how to be a child, so I can teach you how to make him your father. And that's the goal, leading them to Jesus. And now I've got these guys. These guys are on fire leaders. They want to go out and win the world for Jesus. Mm-hmm. They want to demonstrate him. They're a lot like me and a lot like Vicky.
And what's interesting is that now we're 21 years down the road, and these men like you and the women like you, 22 years.
Women like me.
Women like no. Matter of fact, he said
that was good. Matter of factly, he's not a woman.
Matter of factly.
Okay, go ahead.
The men and women like me.
Yeah. So they're doing the same thing. So now, like, for instance, Nick Zeppi is, almost 30. I think he's 37 or something. But he now has sons that could be a 50-year-old.
Yeah.
Could be a 20-year-old. But they are now raising these people behind him the same way.
Multiplication.
Well, they've spent the time with them. They mentored them. They've loved them. They've seen them through their just absolute stupidity.
And the generosity that you see exhibited is like, a mom and dad. A healthy mom and dad take care of your needs. You know, if you're going somewhere, they give you money. They usually buy dinner for you. They help you with this. They do that. And that's what you see at the Father's house, is that many people now, the leaders, the pastors, are actually exhibiting all those characteristics to the people behind them, and they're living out loud in front of them, and they're saying, "Go look. You can look in my closet. You can look in my computer. I'm not gonna let you down." Yeah.
Yeah, and so then what really happens is your impact is just multiplied over, it's like generations, right? With real families. Like I like having kids. My kids are 4, almost 3, like 4.5, almost 3, and almost 1. And I'm really liking the almost 1 stage. I didn't really love the screaming through the night stage, and
she's sleeping through the night, right?
She is,
Oh,
yeah.
praise
And
God.
and this week I'm the one who I'm teaching her that I can put her to sleep too.
Oh, that's so good.
So it's I sing the songs we sing on the podcast, James Taylor and Simon and Garfunkel and stuff, and she falls asleep mostly because she wants to end the struggle probably quickly. But I love this. I love this phase. The early part is really tough.
Yes.
The saying no 30 times to the same thing so that they understand what no means, and that the light switches and the sockets are dangerous. That part's not fun, but it's really fun to get home at the end of the day today and have two little girls run towards me and one crawl towards me. And what we're talking about, well, people always ask us, you can have more kids, you can have more kids. We're like, we'd like to have lots of grown children. Yes. At the end of our lives, we want to be surrounded by children that are,
yes.
Because that's why I have a bunch of aunts and uncles. Shreya has a bunch of aunts and uncles, even more than I do. And it's just a big family. But there's a lot of work going through that. And
there's a lot of work to parenting, spiritually and physically.
Especially in a media-centered world where
selfish entitlement. Danielle was saying something the other day, and it's fascinating. She said, what I figured out is people over 45 do not understand life's not fair. Because that's what we were raised in.
You knew that life wasn't fair.
We knew that. Like Steve would say, there would be guys on the basketball or baseball team that would sit for 4 years and not play 1 minute. And nowadays, we as parents, we'd flip out if we sat for 4 years. But under 45, there's a real entitlement. And in the church, there's a real entitlement mentality. What can God do for me?
Yeah.
And it's no, you're asking the wrong question.
What can you do for him? What do you get to do for him?
She said matter-of-factly.
Yeah.
Or he did.
Matter-of-factly.
So I think the biggest thing that comes from this is following or follow me as I follow Christ is really let me show you to the Father. Let me father you, mother you until you're ready to father and mother others.
That's right.
Correct.
And it comes across, the reason it causes people to go bonkers, it comes across as arrogant, as like, I'm more than you, or I'm better than you.
Why should I follow you?
And what it really is extreme servanthood. I would actually let myself be someone you're dependent on. Because when you're dependent on me, it costs me.
Everything.
And whether you receive or don't receive is kind of like it's on me. And so it's not selfish, it's selfless. It is not superiority. It is simply the idea that I'm further ahead than you and I'll show you the way. And so that's why we start with look at our life, and is there anything you want from us? And then tell me, what are your dreams for your life? And when they say to have a marriage, to be a good parent, to do this or that, and they well, is there any of those things? Is there anyone that has those things that would take the time to teach you? And so when they say you and me and Vicky, it's, listen, I don't want to take the time to teach them those things. That's not my nature.
You want to retire.
Well, it's nice that you picked me, but why don't you pick someone? Why don't you go find someone else? No, see,
you're
so
64.
It really is the problem that people look at it like it's this hierarchy. Sit on a throne and kiss my feet and kiss my ring. Bring me my lemonade and grapes and wave palm branches at me. And it's nothing like that. It's like roll up my sleeves.
It's in the trenches.
Get back in the truck in the morning and get out there to help them do what they're doing, help them learn how they learn. And I'm telling you, just that alone, letting them work alongside of me, it's just like, it's gruesomely difficult. And yet it's phenomenally rewarding.
Yeah.
Phenomenally.
It's Christianity.
And I don't care what it is, setting up the church for church services, letting them preach, which, there's 25 or more that get to preach around here. And we're always trying to find them venues to preach in. And like I just scheduled 2 of them to speak in a church in Forest Ranch. And, they just, every chance we get, we try to push them out there to do what we've taught them, to practice and to deliver, and find out that they are formidable people that can say to others, follow me. And they have this accountability with each other that's amazing. It's the best thing about, I'll expose my heart to you if you're trustworthy.
Yeah.
You know, and then they expose their heart, and you help them with those things that are still those dark areas, because it needs to shine the light on it. And that's the further up and farther in. First we deal with these things, then those things, then your mind. And when we deal with your mind, man, now you're going to soar. You get the crud out of your mind. You get those cobwebs and all that wrong thinking and all that junk out of your mind, and change your thinking from its hierarchy. I'm going to become the leader to I'm going to become the servant. My position is going to require me to serve every person, whether I like them or not, whether I want them around me or not.
Yeah.
Every person, serve them with example, with standing my ground, with being true to my word, and teaching them, correcting them, loving on them, spending time with them. I mean, honestly, that's probably why most pastors don't do it, because we are not talking about sitting on a throne having people bring you your lunch. It's standing at a hot stove cooking their lunch.
Well, yeah, and Vicky sent out an email the other day like, hey, we love that you guys all treat our house like your house, but you keep leaving your stuff there, so why don't you come in and grab your stuff and shut the gate on the way out so the dog doesn't run down the yard, right?
Yeah.
And it's true, right?
And that's what a mother does.
Every day you've got somebody unannounced at your house like, hey, I'm here to go swimming. My daughters go to your pool once a week to go swimming. Yep. Without me, they go with their friends.
Well, that's why we built it. You want to spend this money on a pool? No. We could do a lot of vacations for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, but think of all the life that'll happen here for this pool.
Oh, yeah.
The life that isn't for us, but for them.
So wonderful.
Yeah. That's why we built the pool.
So.
And it's what, I think that is something that's really, really important. When you say follow me as I follow Christ, it really isn't just a hierarchy, serve me, serve the pastor. It's if you come to the Father's house, you'll see that all the pastors are in the trenches for every event we do. And we are actually following the leader of whatever the event is. Steve's actually taking orders from maybe his daughter or from you. You know, at this podcast, we're listening to you, you know. And it really is pouring your life out. And it is a lot of work. And I love it. It's so, so rewarding. But yet there is a difficultness to it. And I think that's where all the fruit will come. I mean, I can't believe how blessed we are to be surrounded by the likes of you and your family and the people that we call friends and sons and daughters. It really is become quite a family unit at the Father's house. And, I just want to, if you want to, I guess it would be a good time to plug even School of Transformation Light right now, if they wanted to know more about Follow Me as I Follow Christ.
Yeah, so we have our full-time School of Transformation, which is starting at the end of August 31st, but we also have School of Transformation Light, which is, there's several modules, but the first module is starting on August 30th, and that's where they cover a lot of this stuff, kind of foundational, what does Jesus say, Christianity, and that's available. It's available in person when we can, but because of COVID land and because we're reaching a lot of people around the world, it's actually an online with webinar, high quality, many different cameras, live stream. You get to talk to your people, everything. The same lovely people who bring you the Uncommon Truth podcast, the producers, Luke and Yost, they take care of streaming out the School of Transformation Light. So if you want any more information on either of those School of Transformations, you can go to transformationschool.org, or you can send me an email, because my email is in here. You can ask me how to get involved. And if you want to get more of these conversations to your friends, you hear this and you're like, oh, I know somebody that needs to listen to this one, or maybe it challenged you and you want to send it to somebody else too, you just go to uncommonpodcast.com and share that with them. It'll take them, whatever phone they're using, it'll take them directly to it. So. And
what's cool is that we're in the top 200 of podcasts in America. And so maybe if you guys share it, religion and spirituality. Yeah. So it would be cool if we got in the top 100.
It would be cool.
So if you could share it, just birthday present. He's 64. He's old. He needs something to. I
need you to share it.
Please share it.
Share it up.
Share it.
She'll jump on your Facebook later and share it as you. So.
I do. I do share that.
I like it.
Yeah,
so
I do.
Hey, thanks for spending so much time with me. This is if I look back and think of all the hours that I got to just sit down and talk to you, I think I count myself really blessed, because even before Vicky jumped in, I was getting I was getting you an hour a week, and now I get both of you an hour a week, and it's pretty remarkable.
I'm way better when she's here.
Well, that's why we brought her
awesome.
in. She's
That's
she draws out the giggles and everything.
We're quite different, aren't we?
She said,
And we we're blessed.
No,
Honestly, as
you're
you're talking.
quite different. I'm normal.
No, you're AB normal.
I'm AB normal. You're
It's
just
to
quite
have
diff-
you to
you're
just be
quite
sitting.
different.
Shh, I'm talking.
I know. I heard you.
Okay. Follow me as I follow Christ.
That'd be tough.
Anyway, I was
Like
actually
trying to
literally
hit a hummingbird.
Shh, mute him. I was literally thinking how much closer I feel to you just be sitting here every week, and you guys finally invited me to the show after Steve just tanked and you got to bring someone else in.
Yeah, no.
There you go.
That didn't happen.
We were going further up and farther in.
Amen.
Okay.
That's right.
Amen.
So thank you guys, and happy birthday, Steve. And
Happy
we'll see you
birthday,
guys next week.
Thank you all very much.
Have a great day.